What should we actually expect from our toddlers? Is picky eating normal for all kids? Should we be okay with them living on plain pasta? Today we are setting straight some of the misconceptions about picky eating in toddlers and asking the questions that will help you figure out if your toddler is a picky eater once and for all. Stay tuned till the end, I've got a free gift for you. Hey, welcome back. I'm Holly, a pediatric occupational therapist and mom to two adorable toddlers. My channel is about all things early childhood development for 1 to 3-year-olds, because when it comes to toddler development, what you do, mama, matters. So when it comes to toddler eating, what is actually normal? What should we really expect? So it's normal to expect that at age 2, they seem to have less appetite than they did before because their growing really slows down around that age. It's also experienced by a lot of families that it's seemingly overnight your 3-year-old starts becoming fussy about certain foods. It's normal to expect that your toddler won't love vegetables, that raw spinach won't be their first choice of food because their taste buds are a little bit more sensitive to bitterness than ours are. It's normal to expect fluctuations in the amount that they eat according to growth spurts or common colds, illnesses, teething. But what we expect from a normal, non-picky eater is that they eat 30 to 40 different types of foods regularly. From my experience, the main red flag when it comes to picky eating is that meal times have become stressful for either the parent or the toddler. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that a hungry toddler can stress anyone out. What I'm more referring to is that as a parent, you have a worry that you're not adequately providing for your child enough food, so they're not full enough, or that you can't find the correct food that they'll agree to eat. And on the other hand, if the toddler is becoming very distressed or crying frequently during meal times. There are definitely levels to this, and the solution to toddler picky eating is not one size fits all. So just to give you a bit of perspective on that spectrum of when we talk about picky eating, there are some children that find food so intolerable that they have to be fed through a feeding tube for all of their meals. On the other side of the spectrum, there are children that eat 3 meals a day, but their selection of food that they eat is very, very limited. Both would be considered picky eaters. So where does your toddler fall in this range? I would love to hear. Leave me a comment below. So before we dive into actually figuring out if your toddler is a picky eater, I think it's important to clear up the misconception that all toddlers outgrow picky eating. As most of us have experienced, there does come a time when your toddler's taste buds are a little bit less sensitive to bitterness. There will come a time when your toddler's sensations in their mouths improve a bit, and when they understand better that food influences how they feel. Does that mean that we should just give in to our toddlers' picky eating and just make them whatever they want, plain pasta every night for the rest of their toddlerhood? No, toddlerhood is our training time for a healthy diet and healthy eating habits. If the reason for your toddler's picky eating is a medical, sensory, or motor difficulty, it's very unlikely that they are going to outgrow this without getting the proper support that they need. On the other hand, if their picky eating is just a phase, but we allow it to dictate how we run our house and our practices around mealtime and food preparation, that can snowball into your toddler becoming a full-blown picky eater for the rest of their life. Okay, moment of truth. Is your toddler a picky eater? These are some of the questions that you should be asking yourself. Firstly, does your toddler eat less than 20 items? Is your toddler fussy about different colors and textures of food? Does your toddler have specific requests consistently about temperature or the specific brand of food that they're eating? Is your toddler completely not eating certain groups of food like protein or fruit or veg? Do you feel like you have to chase your toddler around with a spoon all the time? Like that even though they're above 2 and physically able to feed themselves, you end up doing all of that feeding? Have you noticed that your toddler only seems to eat when they're distracted by the TV or a tablet? Does your child really resist new foods? And when I say new foods, I don't necessarily mean that you're forcing them to eat it, but even if it's on their plate or right next to them, they gag or vomit or cry about that food. Is your toddler consistently eating only a small portion of the family meal, or that you're having to prepare a whole new meal for them? So this could even be, for example, you're making for the family bolognese with spaghetti and salad, and your toddler will only eat the plain spaghetti. If that's happening consistently, that could be a red flag for a picky eater. If you answered yes to any of these questions, your toddler could be classed as a picky eater or going through a picky eating phase. As I said before, if we as parents let this snowball, that could mean picky eating for life. Give yourself and your toddler a gift of easier meal times and healthy eating habits. Get to the heart of why your toddler is a picky eater and make a clear action plan with my free 4-week email course, an action guide to picky eating. You will receive an email once a week with video, guided problem solving, tons of tips and tricks, reflections, and free printables to help you overcome this phase of picky eating. Are you still not sure if your toddler really is a picky eater? The action guide is also for you. In the first week, I will help walk you through exactly how to figure out how many different types of food your toddler is eating, the colors and the textures of those foods, as well as a guided reflection on the number one most overlooked influence on toddler meal times and picky eating. Did I mention it's completely for free? The number one influence on toddler meal times and picky eating. I bet this is happening around your table. You want to know what it is? Stay tuned, it's coming up in the next video.